All right, everyone, I'm very happy to announce that a long-term socialist, she calls herself a social democrat, but she's a socialist, has seen the light and embraced the true meaning of capitalism, and right in time for the Christmas holiday season to grift off her cult-like fans. And I guarantee she's selling fucking thousands of these things. She's making so much money. She's probably, in the last 24 hours, she's probably made more than most of her constituents made all year. And that's AOC. She's now released a clothing line with snazzy little slogans, like it says student debt and then it has it crossed out, and this is considered to be a big-time, hard-hitting, slogan-eared meme. And you can get a sweatshirt for $58. You can get t-shirts for, what, $30 or something, $32 or something like that. So, in other words, massively overpriced. And it's funny because she's saying, well, all of these are made in the United States by unionized workers. Number one, how do you know that that's the case? Number two, how do you know that there isn't a little bit of illegal labor going on there? Number three, what about the raw materials, AOC, that went into those shirts? Was the cotton U.S. grown, or whatever fabric or chemical fiber that you're using? Was the ink made in the United States? Did a person from the U.S. even think up your slogan? Maybe they were based in Beijing. Probably not. Probably it all involves Asia and parts of Africa. It's the wonderful thing about globalism is it can be made in the USA, but by foreign components that involved slave labor. Now, I'm not going to jump down to throw too much about that because it's, you know, if you're doing any, like, when I was selling mugs there before the shop had to go down because the manufacturer was no longer capable of shipping things due to the coof, due to the sniffles, you know, probably that's not entirely made in the U.S. There are certainly at least components of the clothing that would have been from China, from Egypt, or whatever. Slavery could have gone into them. Yeah, it's the globalistic world that we live in. We've got slaves propping up the whole system. Some of them are wage slaves in the so-called civilized world, and the rest are just outright fucking slaves. And they all work together for Uncle Sam and other big-time entities to fill their bellies with illicit cash while they smoke $100 Cuban cigars. But I do find it funny, because her cultish fan base will gobble these right up. So in other words, instead of taking that $58 and putting it towards your student loan debt, you're going to complain about the need for your student loan debt to go away and buy a sweatshirt instead with a cheap slogan on it. Very funny. But AOC's doing the right thing. She's engaging in capitalism. She's making probably an enormous profit off of these. I wonder what her profit margin is on a $58 sweatshirt. Basically, she just slaps her name on it and it turns to gold because there are literally millions of people who think of her as a sort of messiah. And a lot of those people are trust funders. They've got daddy's credit card. They don't really need to care about their student loan debt, but they'll bitch about it anyway because they want free shit. They want everything handed to them on a golden platter. Oh yeah, by the way, I thought up a better idea than canceling private debt, student loan debt, rent, whatever. Don't cancel it, just cancel taxes. You know, why don't you, for instance, let's say you pay, say, $400 a month in student loan debt. Well, just cancel enough taxes so that you can save the $400 and pay the private company. Cut the government out. The government will just use it to bomb people anyway. Why aren't you pissed at the government? The government created the debt crisis to begin with by throwing funny money at the college system, jacking up prices because the college frittered it away on cushier dorms and solar panels and a new student center and 10 gymnasiums and a football stadium. That's what happens. And filler courses. I saw the other day, it's hilarious. UVM is cutting courses and staff in things like geology and history and philosophy. Notably not on that list, women's studies. Other filler courses, race relations and stuff like that nobody who gets a degree in it is going to amount to goddamn anything unless they go for a PhD and they end up working in an ivory castle just like the one they just learned in. But geology, fuck that. We don't need people to work in the energy industry. Fuck history. After all, we want it to repeat because we want the 1830s to repeat, I guess, say the socialists. So, we don't want people to learn why that's a bad idea. Philosophy? Yeah, who cares about all those old white men from Greece? This is UVM. This is a fairly legit university. It happens to be where I went for 3.5 years. Thankfully, though, we see the hypocrisy on full display. This is outright capitalism. And I guarantee that cotton fiber, it's not renewable. Now, you drain the soil, with some slaves, maybe in Brazil or Egypt or something. So slaves made the cotton, and the dye probably came from India or something. And there are probably some 12-year-olds working 10-hour shifts there. A little bit better than China. In China, the 14-hour shifts, and they're 10 years old. Except the managers, of course, and they make a couple pennies more a day, and that's okay. And they tend not to be Vietnamese slaves. You know, they import their slave labor now from Africa and from South Asia. And then you compiled it, and that massive uptick of cost. It's basically like Apple. AOC is acting like the Apple cult. Apple users are willing to buy devices that are explicitly made using child slave labor from tin horn regimes as long as the price is marked up double because it makes them feel more wealthy. It's a status symbol. It's a fucking pile of bullshit. I would expect to see some of these shirts if I was wandering around Burlington. Yeah, at night near the bars on Cherry Street. Or on Church Street or something. I would expect to see them in Austin or in San Francisco. It's a sad reflection on people that they're so lemming-like that they can't see through this shit. You got someone who claims, whoa, the rich are bad, essentially. But give me 6 figures on this cheap shit. On this marked-up bullshit shirt that I've sold you with a slogan that she probably didn't dream up herself. Do you really think there are enough marbles in her head to dream it up? I don't fucking think so. That's about all. Peace out.